Hello, and thank you for joining me. I am Don Gringo, and I'm the host of Opinion and Opportunity, and this will begin another playlist that I call Shorts. They are small clips or segments from my larger shows. You'll find the show descriptions in the links below. Thanks again. For them. But anyways, let's move on. So this, if you made it this far, this right here demonstrates who should sit in the seat if either if either Joe Biden died or Donald Trump died. This right here was the last question of the night. This is the most telling question of the night when it comes to a person's character. So let's listen real quick.
I've written all the questions that I've asked tonight. For the final question of the debate, I'd like to read a question that someone else wrote. The Utah Debate Commission asked students in the state to write essays about what they would like to ask you. And I want to close tonight's debate with the question posed by Brecklin Brown. She's an 8th grader at Springville Junior High in Springville, Utah. And here's what she wrote, quote, When I watch the news, all I see is arguing between Democrats and Republicans. When I watch the news, all I see is citizen fighting against citizen. When I watch the news, all I see are two candidates from opposing parties trying to tear each other down. If our leaders can't get along, how are the citizens supposed to get along? And then she added, your examples could make all the difference to bring us together, end quote.
So this 8th grade student decides to write, hey, listen, all I see is people fighting people on both sides of the aisle all day, all the time. No, obviously you can hear the frustration in the question, right? This is an 8th grader, by the way. I mean, just remember this now. And she sits there and says, your example could be the way forward, trying to unify people, right? So I want you to hear who responds to Brecklin in an appropriate way and which one is actually campaigning, right? So let's get into it.
So to each of you in turn, I'd like you to take 1 minute and respond to Brecklin. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute.
Brecklin, it's a wonderful question. And let me just commend you for taking an interest in public life. I started following the news when I was very young. And in America, we believe in a free and open exchange of debate. And we celebrate that.
I mean, that's the first step right there, right? So we're talking to an 8th grader. And listen, it's okay to disagree. There's nothing wrong with that message, right? We're talking to an 8th grader. That is right there supposed to help at least make her feel okay. This isn't all bad, right? Let's move on.
And it's how we've created literally the freest and most prosperous nation in the history of the world. I would tell you that don't assume that what you're seeing on your local news networks is synonymous with the American people. I look at the relationship between Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late justice who we just lost from the Supreme Court, and the late Justice Antonin Scalia. They were on polar opposites on the Supreme Court of the United States, one very liberal, one very conservative. But what's been learned since her passing was the two of them and their families were the very closest of friends.
Now, again, we're talking to an 8th grader. Don't listen to the media. The media is not your friend, right? That's a Chris Cuomo thing. The media is not your friend, okay? And here we are, and I'm using Fredo, so the media is not your friend. And he's telling this little girl, hey, listen, don't listen to that. And you know what? We're talking about the Supreme Court. We're talking about people from such far ends of each spectrum that, you know what? No one knew it. But in privacy, as private people, they were great friends. And their families got along great. They were really close. This is the message of hope and unification this 8th grader is looking for. Let's continue.
I mean, here in America, we can disagree. We can debate vigorously, as Senator Harris and I have on this stage tonight. But when the debate is over, we come together as Americans.
When the debate is over, we come together as Americans. Again, we're talking to an 8th grader. Her whole thing was, all I see is bad things between people from different parties. Your example tonight could make a difference. This is this man's message. He ain't talking about Donald Trump. He ain't talking about Republicans. He's talking about the American people and what he believes to be the truth of the American people.
That's what people do in big cities and small towns all across this country. So I just want to encourage you, Brecklin. I want to tell you that we're going to work every day to have government as good as our people.
Government as good as our people. We're talking to an 8th grader. Government as good as our people. This is the reassurance that the 8th grader is looking for. Not politics, not, hey, support Donald Trump and the Republican Party. This is real life. Not all people are bad. We can disagree and still be friends. This is the message you give an 8th grader, right? Now let's listen to Kamala.
The American people each and every day love a good debate. We love a good argument. But we always come together and are always there for one another
Thank you.
in times of need. And we've especially learned that through the difficulties of this year.
Senator Harris, what would you say to Brecklin?
First of all, I love hearing from our young leaders. And when I hear her words, when I hear your words, Brecklin, I know our future is bright
Because what? She's asking you a question, woman. She's asking you a question. Answer the question. You haven't done it all night.
it is that perspective on who we are and who we should be. That is a sign of leadership and is something we should all aspire to be. And that brings me to Joe. Joe Biden.
See the difference right there. In the first part of her answer to Brecklin is what? Let's talk about Joe Biden. Let's talk politics in the Democratic Party. Not even talking about her as a woman talking to a young girl, right? This is the message that she's sending. This is crazy.
One of the reasons that Joe decided to run for president is after Charlottesville, which we talked about earlier. It so troubled him and upset him like it did all of us, that there was that kind of hate and division. What propelled Joe to run for president was to see that over the course of the last 4 years, what Brecklin described has been happening. Joe has a long-standing reputation of working across the aisle.
Joe. At least Mike Pence talked about the American people. They're not all bad. This woman can't even talk about herself. As a woman talking to a young woman or a child or a young girl, okay, Joe. We're still campaigning. We're at the end.
They're working in a bipartisan way. And that's what he's going to do as president. Joe Biden has a history of lifting people up and fighting for their dignity. You have to know Joe's story to know that Joe has known pain, he has known suffering, and he has known love.
Who cares about Joe? She's an 8th grader asking you, all I see is this in the world today, and you're talking about Joe. This makes it very difficult for me to see this woman sitting in the seat. The seat. Because she can't even treat an 8th grader, appropriately. She's still campaigning. She's not talking to Brecklin. She's talking to the adults. She's using the question as a platform to talk to the adults. I don't get this.
And so, Brecklin, when you think about the future, I do believe the future is bright. And it will be because of your leadership.
I do believe the future is bright. Blink, lying out your ass, blink. Let's move on.
And it will be because we fight for each person's voice through their vote. And we get engaged in this election because
when we get engaged in this election, there it is. Still campaigning. Watch.
You have the ability through your work and through eventually your vote to determine.
Eventually your vote. This is what it's all about. She couldn't help herself. I think she's just can't help herself. Everyone says Trump has the mental problem and something Biden, but I think she does. I think she's compulsive. I really do think she has an issue here. She's talking to an 8th grader and she's still campaigning for now. She's an 8th grader. Why don't you talk to her as a woman, as an 8th grade girl? I mean, that would have been more appropriate. But this is what we get. This is Kamala Harris for you. You know what? I'm going to end it right here. Thank you for watching. Again, if you have any comments, you disagree, reach out to me. I always appreciate you reaching out. Now, again, you can reach out to me on my Parler or Twitter page, Opinion or Opportunity. You can reach out to me via email. And my email, I'm going to say it again, cracker@dongringo.com. That's right. You can go to my website. You can email me from there, leave a comment, or you can turn around and just email me directly. cracker@dongringo.com. So tomorrow we will be back because of Nasty Palooza. Let's just hope the world doesn't blow up till then. Have a good night. Bye.